Most of the music we remember from the past was meant to be legendary. But sometimes, the biggest songs weren't masterpieces at all. They were studio accidents, private jokes, or ideas that nobody took seriously until they hit the airwaves. Artists like Chuck Berry, Bachman Turner Overdrive, or Right Said Fred didn't set out to change the world with these tracks. They just wanted to have a laugh. Yet, for a brief moment, those jokes became the only thing anyone was singing. If you enjoy uncovering these strange stories and the melodies that shaped our past, please subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Your support really helps us keep these musical memories alive. Here are 10 joke rock songs that became hits. Number 10. You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet by Bachman Turner Overdrive. Released in 1974. Coming in at number 10, we have You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet by Bachman Turner Overdrive. It was the kind of song that felt like an accidental pulse of energy crackling through a car radio on a warm summer evening. For a brief moment, that signature stutter in the vocals was everywhere, a quirky hook that everyone seemed to be mimicking. Randy Bachman recorded that stuttering delivery as a private joke to tease his brother Gary, who struggled with a speech impediment. It was a rough demo, a filler track they intended to throw away. But when the record label heard it, they didn't hear a mistake. They heard a massive hit. Against every expectation, the band released the joke version, and it shot straight to number 1. It became their biggest success, a career-defining moment born from a simple family prank. Yet, as the years passed, the band always looked back at it with a touch of irony. A reminder that sometimes our most casual moments are the ones the world remembers best. Number 9. The Streak by Ray Stevens, released in 1974.
Oh, yes, they call him the Streak.
Imagine the airwaves suddenly filled with the chaotic, playful energy of a song like no other.
Oh, yes, they call him the Streak.
The Streak by Ray Stevens. Few tracks captured the bizarre, chaotic mood of the mid-70s quite like this one. There was a brief window in history when streaking became a national obsession, a strange flash of rebellion that saw people running naked through public events. Ray Stevens took that madness and turned it into a melody. The song plays out like a frantic live news report, filled with absurd characters and that unforgettable line.
Just going down there to get Ethel a snow cone. Here he comes, right out of the cheek.
It stayed at number 1 for 3 weeks, becoming one of the biggest hits of the decade.
She done got a free shot to grandstanded her right there.
But as the fad faded into the history books, the song became a time capsule. It remains a souvenir of a very specific, very strange era.
There have been some disturbance here. Pardon me, sir, did you see what happened?
A reminder of a time when we were all a little more unpredictable. Number 8. My Ding-a-Ling by Chuck Berry, released in 1972.
On a string, she told me it was my ding-a-ling-a-ling.
There was a brief window in time when the entire world seemed joined in a cheeky, double-meaning sing-along.
Ding-a-ling, my ding-a-ling, my ding-a-ling.
Chuck Berry was already a living legend by then, the pioneer who shaped rock and roll with classics like Johnny B. Good.
There and play with my ding-a-ling, my ding-a-ling.
Yet, in a twist of fate that still feels surreal,
My ding-a-ling, my ding-a-ling, I wanna play.
his only number 1 hit was this live recording of a schoolboy novelty song about a silver bell.
My ding-a-ling, my ding-a-ling.
It was simple, slightly scandalous, and relied entirely on the crowd singing back to him.
My ding-a-ling-a-ling, my
Some critics felt it was beneath a man of his stature, but the public loved the playfulness.
Together we'd play with my ding-a-ling-a-ling.
It reached the top of the charts on both sides of the Atlantic, proving that even a guitar hero sometimes just wants to have a little fun.
Silver bells hanging on a string. So you
But for Barry, the irony remained that his greatest commercial peak came from a song that required almost no guitar at all.
ding-a-ling. I wanna play with my ding-a-ling.
It was a peak that felt like a gentle wink to his audience.
My ding-a-ling. I wanna play with my ding-a-ling.
Number 7. Disco Duck by Rick Dees and his cast of idiots, released in 1976.
The disco beat. How in the world could I keep
At number 7, we have Disco Duck by Rick Dees, released in 1976.
the night? All the ladies were treating me right
This was the kind of song that defined the peak of disco fever by mocking it.
in the change. I was on the dance floor acting.
The premise was as simple as it was ridiculous. A man quacking like a duck over a polished, heavy dance beat.
Let's go, Mama. I'm going to Seville, Mama.
Rick Dees was a popular radio DJ who intended it as a parody of the disco craze consuming the airwaves. He never expected that the parody would become the very thing it satired.
Stopped, I returned to my seat. But there's no
The track became a global phenomenon, selling millions of copies and hitting number 1. It was a bizarre moment where the joke became indistinguishable from the trend. Eventually, the quacking stopped and the disco lights dimmed. While Dees went on to have an incredible career in radio, he never truly escaped the shadow of that famous duck. The song remains a colorful, slightly silly memory of a night that lasted just a little too long. Number 6, I Am Too Sexy by Right Said Fred, released in 1991. Floating back to an era of bold style and infectious dance beats, we find a track that everyone was singing, Jesus, even if they didn't quite get the joke. I Am Too Sexy by Right Said Fred. For a brief moment in the early 90s, this song seemed to be playing in every club and fashion show on the planet. It was a satire of vanity, a deadpan poke at the self-serious world of high fashion. The Fairbrass brothers delivered the lines with such over-the-top confidence that some people missed the joke entirely, taking the lyrics at face value. It was a unique sound, blending a heavy dance beat with a minimalist, almost spoken word style. It climbed to number 1 in over 30 countries, becoming an anthem for an era defined by style. But as the 90s moved on, the band found it impossible to replicate that lightning in a bottle. Yet the song remains an essential piece of pop history, a reminder of a time when we weren't afraid to laugh at our own reflections. Number 5. Monster Mash by Bobby Pickett, released in 1962.
Late one night, when my eyes beheld an eerie sight.
Every time the leaves begin to fall and the air grows cold, a familiar, spooky melody seems to rise again from the past.
He did the Monster Mash. It was a great
Monster Mash by Bobby Pickett. It sounded like a horror movie impression turned into a graveyard dance party, and that is exactly what it was.
all came from their humble abodes to get a jolt.
Bobby Pickett was an aspiring actor who loved doing Boris Karloff impressions,
Monster Mash, the zombies were having fun.
and he channeled that talent into a novelty song just in time for Halloween.
Sounds, he got on chains backed by his baying hounds.
It was meant to be a seasonal gag, a lighthearted take on the monster movie craze, but the song had a life of its own.
The lid and shook his fist and said, "Whatever happened to my..."
It hit number 1 in 1962 and, incredibly, returned to the charts multiple times over the decades.
And then my Monster Mash is the hit of the land. For you,
It became an immortal classic, the kind of joke that never truly went away.
then you can Monster Mash.
Pickett would spend the rest of his life as the Monster Mash Man, forever linked to a song that started as a simple studio parody.
From my electrode, they did the Monster Mash.
It is a song that still brings a smile every October, a ghost of a joke that refuses to die.
Least to the master bedroom where the vampires feast.
Number 4, Witch Doctor by David Seville, released in 1958. Coming in at number 4, we have Witch Doctor by David Seville, released in 1958. This track captured a sound that had never been heard before. A strange, squeaky voice singing nonsense lyrics that were impossible to forget.
I was in love with you. And then the witch doctor, he told me what to do. He said that...
It was an experiment in tape speed manipulation by Ross Bagdasarian, who performed under the name David Seville. The song was a massive risk, a weird little track that sounded more like a cartoon than a radio.
And then the witch doctor, he gave me this advice. He said that...
But the public fell in love with the high-pitched chanting. It didn't just hit number 1, it launched an entire franchise that would eventually become Alvin and the Chipmunks. It was a career-defining moment that changed the way producers thought about sound. Yet, at its heart, it was just a man playing with his equipment in the studio, trying to make himself laugh. That laughter turned into a legacy that spanned generations. Number 3, The Purple People Eater by Sheb Wooley, released in 1958.
Like a Mr. Shaking in the city. It looks like a purple people eater to me.
Some songs feel like a whirlwind, arriving with a burst of laughter before vanishing into the golden haze of the past. The Purple People Eater by Sheb Wooley. It started as a children's joke that Sheb Wooley heard from a friend's child. The idea of a one-eyed, one-horned flying creature was so absurd that Wooley wrote the song in a matter of hours.
A one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater sure looks strange to me.
It was a whirlwind production, released during the height of the space race. Within weeks, it was a national phenomenon, staying at the top of the charts for nearly a month.
Rock and roll, flying purple people eater, pigeon toed, undergrowth, flying purple people eater.
It was a moment of pure, innocent fun that captured the imagination of post-war America. But like the creature in the song, the craze vanished almost as quickly as it appeared. It left behind a colorful, bittersweet memory of a simpler time, when a strange little story was all we needed to feel happy.
It was a crazy ditty with a swinging tune.
Number 2, Winchester Cathedral by the New Vaudeville Band, released in 1966.
If only you'd started ringing your bell.
A crackling ghost from the past that somehow captured a modern heart. Winchester Cathedral by the New Vaudeville Band.
I needed that girl. She wouldn't have gone.
In the middle of the roaring 60s, surrounded by the Beatles and the Stones, this song sounded like it had been pulled directly out of the 1920s.
Watch that. My baby left town.
It was old-fashioned on purpose, featuring a megaphone vocal effect and a whistling solo that felt like a parody of a bygone era. It was a strange anomaly, a piece of nostalgia for a past that the youth were supposed to be moving away from.
Winchester Cathedral. You're bringing me down.
It resonated deeply, climbing all the way to number 1. It proved that audiences will always have a soft spot for the familiar sounds of the past, even when those sounds are delivered with a wink.
I needed that girl.
The song remains a quiet, charming reminder that sometimes the old ways are still the best ways to reach someone's heart. Number 1, Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini by Brian Hyland, released in 1960.
It was an itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot.
The ultimate summer memory, Born from a simple story and turned into an impossible-to-ignore phenomenon? Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini by Brian Hyland.
Afraid to come out of the locker. She was afraid that somebody would say.
Brian Hyland was only 16 years old when he recorded it, and he perfectly captured the innocent, flirtatious spirit of the early 60s. It was silly, it was bright, and it was impossible to ignore. The song shot to the top of the charts and even sparked a surge in bikini sales across America. It was a moment of pure pop perfection, a joke that worked because it was so undeniably sincere in its fun.
Out of a locker, she was afraid that somebody would say.
But as the decade grew more serious and the music turned toward revolution, this sunny little track faded into the background. It became a relic of a time before the world grew up, a golden memory of a girl, a beach, and a song that made us all feel young.
Yellow polka dot bikini, so in the blanket she wanted to stay.
10 songs, 10 jokes, gimmicks, or happy accidents. They remind us that music doesn't always have to be a masterpiece to stay with us forever. For a brief moment, these tracks were the only thing the world was singing, freezing a memory in time that still brings a smile today. If these stories felt like a trip back in time, please subscribe and give this video a like. Your support truly helps us keep these musical memories alive. Which of these songs still brings back a memory for you? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for listening and for keeping the past alive with us.